When I call you guys brothers, I understand that word is about we have accepted Christ Jesus as our Lord and Savior. So his blood make us brothers.
Your testimony blesses us too. And that's how we sharpen each other's iron, strengthen our faith through just the word and just through our discussions. That's why I love Tuesday night.
To anybody who, you may not even want to raise your hand, but you can admit, I'll raise my hand, that you've been dealing with more anxiety or more fear than you have ever in your life.
One of the things that specifically, as black men, we're going to be all right. I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. You all right? I'm good. You get hit by a car. I'm good.
Now I'm angry because I see you angry. So now I just have lost it. And I don't even see you anymore. I see every problem.
I start with a new therapist this Wednesday. I tell you, you should start with one too. Oh, come on, church, say amen. I ain't scared to admit it. Y'all not gonna look at me like I'm... Shucks.
Picture a life that's full of tragedy, though some would say that ain't me. Good home, good folks, he a good kid with good jokes, though something that's inside of me made me react so violently. Y'all know them silent ones. Silently, people would be like, why would he up and do that? But I knew that angel rep, I blew that. I didn't even want to pursue that. Instead, I pursued them blue caps, faking like I had a gun today to stun away. Mama yelled, Papa fake. No wonder he thought that nobody wanted face. Rejected in 100 ways, 100 days to wonder, if tears are like a vitamin, I'm working on my one days. Threatened I would run away, so I came back. My folks didn't even know I was gone though. Inside, the tears falling. Outside, I'm laughing at Gonzo. The pain just remained in my brain till I was gone. Blown, stained by the drama, yet still wondering if my mama and my papa even think I'm great. Turning to my grandmama and asking why her people hate me. And I've been knowing the pain, I've been knowing the pain, I've been knowing the pain between you and me. That's how it's been usually. But welcome to the funeral, dog. I'm giving Pain's eulogy. I've been knowing the pain, I've been knowing the pain, I've been knowing the pain between you and me. That's how it's been usually. But welcome to the funeral, dog. I'm giving Pain's eulogy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Blessings to you all. Welcome to the Hope Battalion Men's Mental Health Check-In. Man, I'm so excited to have all of y'all joining us, man. My name is Reverend Aaron Martin, and I am the co-leader of the men's ministry. And I am just excited for all of y'all to be here. Big up to my man, Reverend Bruce Herbert, who co-leads this ministry with me. We call our ministry the Hope Battalion. So shout out to all my brothers, because I know y'all are listening right now. What's good? What's happening? What's up with all y'all? Today's broadcast is an interactive experience. We live, y'all. We live. So we want to engage with y'all right now. So right now you should see a QR code somewhere on your screen. Somewhere you should see a QR code. And you can take your cell phone and use your camera or QR app and scan that QR code, and that allows you to play along with us and answer some trivia questions and just be a part of this event. It's just not going to be me. It's going to be, we're going to do this thing together, right? So go ahead and do that, and I'll help shape this discussion, right? So last month was Men's Mental Health Month, and we all know that is very important. We know how important that is. But let me make this clear: this is not about our ministry. This is not a church thing. It's a get your mind right thing. So for the time that we have together, we're going to try to get to the bottom of what's really going on with your mind and have a real discussion with men with mental health. So here's the agenda today. So we're going to share. We have a special guest, and he's going to share his experience. I'm excited about my special guest. He's going to share his experiences about mental health. And then we're going to have a therapist come in, and he's a real down-to-earth brother, and he's just going to keep it real about mental health. And hopefully we'll have a dynamic discussion, something that will resonate with you even when you leave here. So you're going to have an opportunity to engage with us through all our various platforms and give even a live response. I might even read one of your responses on air. So if whatever platform you're watching this on, make sure you comment and talk to us through the chat. All right. And then we're going to leave some resources for you. So to support you, just in case you need extra steps necessary in the future. All right. So let's get started. Before I bring my first guest out, I want you to answer our first question. If you haven't already, put that phone on that QR code so you can play along with us with that QR app and follow along. All right. This is our first question. How many, I hit you with a hard one too. How many black men die from suicide daily? That's your question. How many die daily? Is it A, 1 to 3? Is it B, 4 to 6? Or is it C, 7 to 8? Okay, I see you guys are, I don't think we're everybody's kind of in between. 1 to 3, 4 to 6. All right, you got about 20 seconds. I know I hit you with a doozy early. I know that's strong, but we got to talk about it. I mean, that's what this is all about, opening up that can of worms, kind of just discussing those things that we necessarily don't always talk about. So, yeah, so it's A, 1 to 3, B, 4 to 6, C, 7 to 8. All right, time's up. The real answer is C, 7 to 8 black men die daily from depression. So y'all see, I mean, we're joking around a little bit, but you see how important this topic is, and we need to really kind of talk about it. All right. So let me bring on my first guest. He's not a stranger to COH or a stranger to me. It's my man. When you got it, you got it. And Antoine Big G Glover sure has it. He started his professional acting career, kicked off in 2002 when he was auditioned for the HBO series The Wire. The Emmy Award-winning casting director Pat Moran was so impressed that she immediately cast him in the series, and he played the acclaimed character Slim Charles. I'm representing Slim Charles right now. However, Antoine Glover has appeared in more than a dozen films, series, 12 years as a slave, Law and Order, Screen Queens. Man, the man has been busy. Now you can look for him in a new TV series called The Deuce, where he plays the character Leon. And when he's not busy in his acting career, y'all know, DMV already know. He's also Big G and the Ghetto Prince. They call him that when he's working at 93.9 or 95.5. They also had a Big G Day for him by the former mayor. Man, this dude been working, man. They call him the king of the city. I have him personally on my Mount Rushmore. You got Mayor Barry, you got Chuck, you got G.
That's love, man. That's big. That's big, man.
And y'all know him from the Backyard Band, man. Y'all know that's the hottest band around. They've been doing it for 20 years. Welcome to my man, Big G Antoine Glover. How are you doing, my brother?
Oh man, beautiful, beautiful day. Just blessed to be alive, Trey. You know, beautiful day, man. Lot of things in store for the future, man. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too, man. I'm happy to have you, brother. First of all, before we start, I want to give my condolences to you and your family. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, my brother. You know, whatever you need from us, you know, we're here for you, my brother.
Yes. That I do know.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. So let's just hop into it, man. Why mental health? Why do you think this is important? It's important?
I think it's super important. Coming from where I come from, growing up, a single mom, my dad's incarcerated, just losing all of my siblings, then just losing my mom. They always told me, even when I talked to like Reverend Tony Lee for years, he was like, you need counseling, G. It's mental, man. A lot of us always just put that big cape on and be like, we don't need the help. but eventually it gets worse. It gets worse down the line. We need to all talk to somebody, because especially coping with death and seeing death at a young age. I saw my granddad dead in the room when my mom was on her way to the federal penitentiary to see my dad in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. And we was going in the room just to give him his breakfast, the daily situation. And my granddad was dead. Then it just started trickling down from there. I never forget going to school, and it was a dead body by the trash can. And when we came back from school, the yellow tape was still there, and they had a sheet over this guy. And then it was raining and kind of sunk into him, and the blood was there. That will like mess a kid up mentally. Mental health, we need it. Like I said, and earlier when I first started, we always think we don't need mental health because we're black guys, or we in the hood, or we just strong guy. We just don't touch on it. And I really didn't know that it was so important that we needed to talk to somebody, just to really talk to somebody. And I think to this day, I still need help with just talking to somebody, because like I was telling my wife, I really don't know how to cope with a lot of things because I don't have my siblings to talk to. And then I just lost my mom Friday, the 27th. And it was just like, I couldn't pick up the phone and call my sister because she was the one that kept everything together. And with mental health, it's important that you can go through something and just snap and commit suicide. I didn't know 7 to 8% daily men, African-American men commit suicide. That's say you learn something new every day. That's something that I just knew.
That's crazy, right?
That's super crazy. And like I done talked to different people that came home from war, that was in the service, and I can't talk to them no more because they committed suicide. I know a couple of guys that committed suicide. I had a family member 2 years, couple of months, April, committed suicide. 14 years old, she hung herself.
Wow.
And we never know what we go through, but we need help. We need counseling. And that's the number one thing that we really need. It. Even when you just thinking too much, you need just to talk to somebody. Yeah. I take long rides sometimes that help me cope with it. And I go down by the water, and I haven't really had no sleep. I've been up all night. You know what I mean? Just think about my mom and things of that nature, and knowing that I have to still make her proud. But we need counseling, man. And my wife tell me that all the time. You need to talk to somebody. I think I tried it like twice, and then I didn't keep up with it. But I'm just thinking about I just really need to go back, because the lady really had me in a comfortable space where I was feeling better. Yeah. And I was just like, I just really need to talk to somebody.
So what do you say to brothers who, man, they don't need to talk to nobody. Like,
need to, because it's gonna get worse. You might just don't think it, but you might be lashing out in the wrong way towards your family. It might mess up your job space, but you won't even really know it because you this person just thinking that I don't need counseling. Counseling helps you through a lot of steps. And that's what I learned with talking to my counselor. She was like, just taking counseling to help you on with your career, with your household, with your spouse, everything. You know what I mean? And I would say to any of my youngest that's listening, my older guys that's listening, if you just having different thoughts, man, you having second thoughts on anything, you got a little, because I always say I listen to my first conscience. And a lot of times we listen to that little person in our head, if you have those. But we have to get counseling, man. And like the ones that just got their chest poked out, be like, I don't need no counseling, Holmes. I don't need that, Mo. I'm cool. We all need counseling, man. Especially if you lost a loved one.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
Yeah, I lost all mine. Yeah.
So I wanted to revisit that too, because you've seen like death firsthand, and those images, especially as a child, growing up and seeing those images of death, they don't necessarily. It sounds like they didn't necessarily go anywhere for you. They just kind of just ingrained in you.
Man, just right there, and then just like I said, just losing my mom and going through everything that I had to go through, and her just having all those obituaries in the closet in the box, just with like people dying, like friends of mine dying, and just seeing things, just seeing death all the time. It's like people like, gee, you so strong, you so strong. And it's like I think I'm strong, and I'm a strong person, but how strong can you be? You know?
Yeah.
And then with my mom, the matriarch passing, it's hard, man. It's real hard. And I get up and I was like, man, let me go to work. Let me because I think the stage is my therapy. Being around my band is my therapy because I can go in that space. The fans are there. The music is going. The adrenaline is pumping. The atmosphere is good. And then when it stopped, I just wanted to go again because it get quiet. And I had to learn that in that space in my head. Like I was telling my wife last night when I came from the club, I was like, I'm not sleepy. I'm not tired. She's like, but just try to lay down. And I just left out. Just took a ride, and I was just riding. Like when my mom first passed, I rode all night. I just was riding, just driving all the way down to Solomon's Island. I just drove, and I drove all the way back, rode all the way down by the Capitol. We need counseling, man.
Yeah.
Counseling. Like I've been up. I haven't had no sleep. Then I know I had to go to Zoom, so I'm up. I don't know when I might doze off later, but I'm up. But we need counseling, man. And I advise everybody, man, you'll feel better. You'll feel way better. Because a lot of times I just talk to my sister. I can't talk to her no more. So I didn't feel comfortable with talking to anybody, telling them how I feel. Because I was having dreams and all that.
Yeah. See, and that's important for you to say it, because people look at you and be like, Big G, he's so confident. He's so, he cool. And, they don't see that other side. They don't see that other side of you. So when you kind of say it, it kind of, may have a different meaning for folks,
Right.
So that's how, I think it's important for you to kind of communicate that.
Yeah, it's super important, man, because I see a lot of guys, and like I work with the homeless a lot. See, like kind of like COVID kind of slowed it up. So the last couple of months, like between my birthday, I haven't been doing it because they closed the tent city down across from Dunbar. They closed K Street, the other one. So we're just looking to like go to different spots. So I just did the thing on Mother's Day where we fed the homeless moms, and I see a lot of people I went to school with, and a lot of people, man, just like mentally gone. And I sit out there and talk to a few guys, and they're mental. And it was like, gee, I just saw my guy. He was in government, had a good, he's homeless. He said, man, I lost it, man. I snapped on my wife, her and my daughter. And this is where I'm at now. Gee, I had to go through a domestic violence thing. I'm trying to take counseling, but I'm here. I'm on drugs. He just spilled this whole thing out. I say, man, we cool. We ain't got. He like, man, don't put me on Instagram. Don't put me on Facebook. I'm like, bro, I ain't here for that. You know what I mean? I'm just here to make sure. I need to talk to somebody myself, but I'm here to feed you. And we went to school together. We went to junior high and we went to high school together. And it's sad, man. And he broke it down to me. He was like, man, my mental just left me, G. They kept telling me to get help. And then I lost my family. He was like, I don't think I can get him back, but I'm gonna try. I was just talking to my daughter. My wife won't talk to me, but I've been talking to my child. And it's just sad, man, because a lot of times we these strong men, and we think we don't need it, but we really need it. I just say look into it. Just even if you just do it a little bit, a session at a time, or just look up on how the sessions run on YouTube and just see. You know what I mean? Because it'll help you get better. And I told my wife after my mom's service, I'm gonna figure out how to get me a few days away, but I'm gonna take me some counseling, bro. And it's crazy that Rasan was telling me that I didn't even know it was you, Trey. And then I was just, I had just talked to Reverend Tony Lee because he had called me about my mom. And he was like, man, I just need to pray with you. You know what I mean? And then have you talked to anybody? He always say that. Have you talked to anybody, G? You need to, you know, and he always say that. He might just out of the blue just send me a text. How you feeling? You all right? You need to talk. And we need that as men. We always put that guard up. We put that big wall up. Man, we need it. I need it bad, man. And it's like, especially like this time now that I just lost my mom, because like it was just like my siblings and I still had my mom. Now my mom gone. It's just the kids, my wife, my dogs, and my band. And that's why I always tell my band, they my brothers, they're my therapy. And I be really needing them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all right, we're gonna play a little word association a little bit, because I think it'll be important for brothers out there to because we kind of hold on to certain things that we feel strongly about, right?
Yeah.
I just want to know your opinion about certain words. Let me give you a couple words and see what you say about it. How do you feel about loyalty?
I'm high on loyalty, man. Like I can't really be around people if they're not loyal, because that's loyalty go a long way. I'm number one high on loyalty. That's why I think my band is as successful as we are, because we super loyal. I've had the same people all these years, and you know, so even with Bob and them calling themselves new, they've been in with me for almost 20 years. That's a long time.
Been there for a minute.
Well, and that's loyal. That's like being loyal. We go through stuff as a band, but it's a family. They stay on me, I stay on them. But I'm super high on loyalty, because if you don't have loyal people around you, then who can you trust?
Right. And I think that plays a part in this whole mental health thing too, or how we define
100%. You got to find that person that you can confine in and keep your business to yourself. Because like when people open up, they want to be able to have somebody that'll keep their secrets to themselves. To that inner circle, not unless you in a group. Because I think a couple of times I sat in a group with my counselor, but I just felt comfortable with talking to her solo.
Yeah. All right. All right, I got another one. How about respect?
100%. That's another one. Respect. You gotta respect. I always respect everybody. Always have respect for my elders. Always hold the door for older people. And just knowing how to speak to people in general. You know, you can't be loud, and you know what I mean, you got to speak when you come in a room. You know what I mean? Respect is respect. Respect will take you a long way. And people will always remember when you're respectful. That's one thing my mom always taught me. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Thank you. May I not? You know what I mean? You just got to always have respect. That's one tool you need in your toolbox in moving in life. Loyalty and respect.
All right, I got another one. Now this one ain't in the same lane as these other two. All right, how about betrayal?
And that's one thing. I don't think if a person betray me, I don't think I can deal with them no more, because that
it's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah, it's done. Because it's like that. It might get worse, man. You know what I mean? Like you betray somebody, like. And just being a liar and a cheat, it's different with me. Like you betray me, you know what I mean? Even a family member, you betray. I'm like this. I got my God, like, you know, man, I ain't gonna eat that sandwich with him. We're gonna be over here, but they gonna be over there. You know what I'm saying? I can't eat that fish sandwich with you, bro. Like I can't get all the toppings on the fish sandwich, man. I'm gonna watch you from over here. I'm gonna give you that power to, you know. I might don't even give you that. But yeah, that betrayal, man, that's a bad piece, man.
But will you forgive though?
I'm saying you learn to forgive. My mom always told me you have to forgive, but it depends on what the circumstances are. You know, like
that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, it depends on the circumstances. Like betrayal is a tough situation. Like you got to be careful of betrayal. Like. Just like with the counselor, you put your trust in your counselor to not tell your business. and your counselor go and spread your business out. That's betrayal. And I can't sit in another session with him or her. So it can be different stages of betrayal.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You can lose. I think you can lose your certification if you do something like that. That's
right. I done seen it on shows though. I done seen it on shows that the counselor like, well, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that sound like a show. That sound like a show, G. We need to get on that.
Yeah, that's a show. That's a whole show right there.
Hey, man, I can talk to you. I can holler at you all day, but I want to bring on another guest real quick, and then I'm going to bring you back in, all right? So let me talk to the other guest. I'm going to bring him in, and then we're going to want you to be a part of a larger conversation. So hold tight right there, all right?
Okay.
My man, G. All right. So please let me introduce our next guest. If you've ever watched Sunday Morning Hope when we were fully virtual, then he is not a stranger to you. He is Pastor Vernon Ware. Vernon received his Master of Science degree in Pastoral Clinic Counseling from Loyola University. He specializes in couples counseling and adults dealing with anxiety, depression, stress management, and challenged interpersonal functioning. Reverend Ware also serves as the senior pastor of Pilgrim AME Church in Northeast Washington, D.C., and he will always hold a special place in my heart because he married me and my wife. Gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Pastor Vernon Ware. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Good to be here. I'm glad that we're having an opportunity to talk about such an important topic. And I know you got it all locked in, so you tell me where you want us to go first.
Well, did you get a chance to hear some of our conversation?
Yeah, and let me just say, I really appreciate what he was saying. You can't see it, but I got a shirt that says on Black Therapists Matter. So not only does Black therapists matter, but Black persons going to therapy, anybody going to therapy matters. But I definitely would say that really, I think one of the things we talk about strong a lot. And so I do just want to make this analogy real quick. If it's cold outside, you don't consider yourself weak for putting on a jacket. If it's something where you have a headache, you don't consider yourself weak for getting aspirin, And the thing is, at the end of the day, your brain is not a muscle that you can take to the gym. Your heart is not a muscle that you can take to the gym and then all of a sudden, like your biceps or something, change it around. It feels and it's doing what it's supposed to do. When a lot of times we run into really tough situations, your heart is supposed to be challenged by that. Your mind is supposed to be challenged. When we see kids being killed in school, we're supposed to be challenged by that. When it's a case where we look at the news and then see that a gunman went into a supermarket, that is something that should challenge us. And so a lot of times we look at it as weakness, but really it's just meaning that your mind and your heart are doing what it's supposed to do, is that it is supposed to be challenged with that. And just like if you had an issue with your car or you had an issue with your blood pressure, you're going to go and get help. You're not going to try to do it all by yourself. And for whatever reason, we feel that just because we are strong in lots of ways, and you can be mentally strong and still challenged by a death of a loved one, by a loss of an opportunity, getting fired from your job, not having the money that you want to make. So there's so many different ways. And specifically during this pandemic, it's almost like we have just ignored the fact that it has raised the stress level for everybody easily 20%. No matter where you were before, the pandemic itself has just putting that mask on has raised the stress level at least 20%. So even if you felt like, okay, I was cool or I was managing it, now you need help. Just like I need help, I'm not going to try to fix my car by myself. And so therefore, I do think that it's incredibly important. And even, let me just say this real quick, even well-meaning people that love you may not have the expertise to do what you need to have done. So if you needed to have a fade done just right, I love you, you're my man. Like you said, I married you and your wife, all that kind of great stuff.
I ain't your man. I ain't the man for that.
Right, but I'm saying I'm not yours either, because I'm gonna have you looking like Gumby up out there. It's not gonna look good. Now, I meant well, but I don't have the expertise to do what needs to be done. So sometimes we've gone to people who do mean well, that love us, but they don't have the expertise to walk you through your dad not being around. They don't have the expertise to walk you through your divorce. It doesn't mean they don't love you, but they just can't do that. And so therefore, that's why being able to go to somebody who is a professional makes a significant difference. And yes, we can lose our license. So don't believe that stuff on TV. Just like you don't believe on TV that everybody shoot and all of a sudden every shot good, except for them, you can get shot by a machine gun and you okay, you shoot them with one bullet and they knocked out. Nah, that's not. We lose our license if we
So
break confidentiality. So
that's good.
trust me, that is something that it may have been on TV, yes, but that right there, that person is about to lose their license. So I do want to share.
All right, we duly noted. So is therapy, in your opinion, still kind of a taboo for men? Like, is it getting better? Or we still? Where are we now?
I think we've had it be front and center. And I'm not in any way dogging him in any way, shape, or form, but if you take like a Ben Simmons, and you take everything that went around that, if you look at a Kanye, those sorts of things, the Simone Biles, those persons have really brought to the forefront for persons that look like us that, hey, mental health, which we know we've always had to deal with, is something that if you don't deal with it, it really can make some significant challenges in your life. So I think that there are persons who still feel some challenge with it, like, oh, okay, this is that. But I think that that's starting to change. I think that's starting to change significantly. And I would just say this, regardless of what anybody else thinks, who gonna know?
Right.
Who won't know unless you tell them? So the thing is this, is that they'll see the impact. Hey, man, you seem different, this, that, and the other. So they'll see the impact, but it's not like when you go to counseling, you got to put it on the gram or you got to go ahead and put it on Facebook. Hey, I'm about to go up on the head, get my head right. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But this is that, like nobody needs to know. And I will tell you this, we see the impacts when you don't do it.
Yeah.
We see the impacts when you don't get it straight. And I will tell you, persons have lost their whole life because of unresolved issues. I will tell you, this whole thing with Monique and DL, it's some counseling needed. It's some counseling needed on all sides.
Yeah.
But they're airing it out in front of everybody. We ain't gonna talk about Will and Chris, but we're seeing the fact that what happens if you don't deal with it. And that most of this stuff is just the overflow. It's so much stuff underneath of it. And all of us have that. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you, but get it right. If you had crooked teeth, go get some braces. If your eyesight ain't right like mine, you go get glasses. So if you're dealing with a lot and everybody's dealing with a lot, then go get counseling. That's all I would say.
That's good stuff. I've been to counseling for about a year now, and it resonated with me when you was like, nobody has to know, because I guess I'm sharing it now, but I do counseling like on virtually in the garage, in my car, like nobody else around, just me and the therapist, and so it could be a thing when no one has to be in your business like that. So that's good. That's good for you to bring that out too.
And let me just say this too. Sometimes persons will say, well, I went to the counselor and it wasn't a good experience. And I get that, because sometimes it won't be. It's like any other type of fit. It won't always be a great fit, but then you don't stop going to counseling. So it's kind of like you just find somebody else. If you go to get a bad, if you get a bad cut somewhere, you're like, okay, that barber just ain't for me. And I probably should have known it, because that was the only barber that didn't have nobody in the chair.
If you went to the one that didn't have anybody in the chair,
and they say,
that's your fault.
You can go, Billy open. Well, it's the reason why Billy open. So the thing is this, you don't.
And then he charged you $5. He charged you $4.
Exactly. Or he pay you. So
that fade up.
The reason why people know, sometimes it doesn't work out, but that doesn't mean that I don't need it. If you go get a bad fish sandwich from one spot, then you're like, okay, I'm just not going to go there anymore, but I'm still going to get my eat on somewhere else. And so therefore, don't let one bad experience stop you. You haven't let it stop you on anything else in your life. One bad experience. So why would you let it do that for something that literally, and I'm talking about, I have sat with brothers who in one moment, because it was one moment of overflow, but it was 10 years in the making. And they hit their wife. Hit their child.
Hold on one moment, because you started talking about fish sandwiches. It made me think of Big G and the fish sandwich we were talking about earlier. So I'm gonna bring Big G back in so he can join in with our conversation. But hold that thought. I want you to finish what you were saying. So let's bring Big G back in if we can. There he is.
What's going on, man?
But go ahead.
I feel like, oh man, I get this shit. And I said, I know it would be bad for me to put up my phone and like take a quick picture, but I'm gonna go ahead and be cool. I'm gonna be a professional.
Appreciate it, man.
But go ahead. Finish that last sentence, though. That last thing you were talking about.
No, but it's a case where a lot of times persons will say it was just one moment, but it wasn't just one moment. It was a case where it was, in some cases, decades of stuff building. And then it's that one moment that it overflows, but it's been building for a long time. And so therefore, it's like all of a sudden, like, hey, if we were to talk about, success doesn't come just in one moment. You've been building for a long time. He was grinding before he made it to the wire. He was grinding before he got to all of them other spots. But the people never saw that. They only saw like, oh, he up in there. And then people, say certain things. So my thing is this: you may have an outburst, but you've been building it for a long time. Mm-hmm. And the great thing is this: is you can cut it off. You can feel, when you wake up and you're like, man, I just ain't really right. I got to do something about it. When you are still in that space, you still got room to do something. But if you ignore it, it's almost like, ignoring the fuel light on your car. Eventually it's going to run out. Or
run out of gas. Yeah.
Yes, your oil gauge. Then eventually that engine going to lock up, and what? It's going to do it at the worst possible time.
So let me ask you a question, because this whole you alluded to being back outside, and that's kind of our theme too. We back outside. We out here. This is post-pandemic. This is the new normal. They call it all these different things, but we literally have been inside for like 2 years. Like, wow, literally for the most part. So lifestyles can change. All kinds of things can change when you're just secluded like that.
Mm-hmm.
How? And I think I'm gonna go to G for this one, because you really outside.
You're
really out there. So how do you navigate, dealing with like societal pressures and just being back out, with, I guess, what we call normal now? How's that been for you?
Yeah, it was kind of hard because you just want to be like safe far as the mask and all of that. Yeah. Then you don't want to catch nothing. You don't want to give nobody nothing. So I'm always been a people person. So I'm a hugger. I'm a handshaker. I'm that person that's out there in the community. So I had to kind of take some steps back. And then we went through that situation where a lot of people was like, man, you gonna take the vaccine? And I don't think it's good to do that. You against the religion and all this. I say, listen, I've been taking vaccines since I was a kid in school. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna take this vaccine to stay alive. For one, I gotta be around my mom, but my mom just passed. But I had to be around my mom, 80 years old. And that pandemic, being out, the mask, you got to put it on, you take it off. We flying here, we flying there. I'm going to auditions. I'm on the Amtrak. I'm on Southwest Airline. Then you see some people just don't want to put a mask on, period. Then you got to be in the club where I work. They have a barrier up there now that block the people back. They can't really get physically right up on you. It's just a little different. You know what I mean? And you want to be safe. You want to make sure everybody else is safe. And it was kind of weird, man. But during the time when I wasn't out, it kind of bothered me because I was used to being out, used to making money and just being secluded away and not being able to do nothing. It was hard. And that goes to mental health as well, because you got to cope with being in the inside and you used to being out. Then when it came back, it was like, am I safe? Is this so am I getting this vaccine? Is the vaccine gonna help? Because I lost a great deal of people to COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what I was talking about. Like, you know, even though it's been going for so long that we act like it, like we've kind of gotten used to it. You can't get used to it. I mean, it's like a sniper. I mean, and every day you don't know who is going to take out. You know, I mean, so we got to the point where, and then now it's almost like you feel like you can't even go to the funeral because you don't want to get sick at the funeral, those sorts of things. So so some of the things that we would do that we used to enjoy, even if we still do them, they can still bring about a bit of stress. But then also too is the guilt. So I've dealt with a lot of clients where the reason that they came was that they actually gave it to somebody else, and then that person didn't recover. So they recovered, but you know, grandma didn't recover. And then now the whole family looks at them like you some trash. Obviously they're not, but I'm saying that's the sort of thing. And then we didn't even talk about what it's done to relationships. I mean, because it's like it had all kinds of impacts on relationships. So the pandemic has been no joke. So even for persons, I'm like, this is your time to almost have a pass. We've had so much stuff going on. And if you are a person of color in this nation, with what's just gone on in the last couple of weeks, like, I don't care who you are, how you gonna think that all of this doesn't affect you at all? Like, it just that's impossible.
It do.
And I would say this, that definitely as you get parents that are getting ready to have their children be out of school, and they're going to be in summertime, you're going to be in summertime, like you said, be out there. You want to make sure that you really have dealt with all of this stuff we've been building up, not only for 2 years, but in many cases 22 and more than that.
Absolutely.
Because it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. Even going to the pump now, going to get some gas, that brings you some stress.
That's some anxiety right there too.
Yeah, you used to be able to go ahead and just leave. Remember, you used to be able to put the gas thing in and leave it and say, "Oh,
yeah,
oh no." Now
I ain't doing that no more.
Like, man, I'm gonna have to make it on a half tank.
Stop it at 50. Stop it at 50.
That's pressure.
So gas high.
Stuff adds together, and I just say that, you know, it's. I'm glad that we're able to be out, but there's a cost to that too. And so we just really need to lean on each other. And one of the things that Big G said, which I appreciate, is he talked a lot about self-care. So he talked about taking a ride. He talked about having the friends he can talk to, all of those things. So my thing is this, even if you haven't got to the point where you're okay with therapy yet, do something that you know brings you down. Stand about it.
Speaking of that, I have a Facebook a post from from Facebook with one of our listeners is watching, and it's to you, G. They said on that same lines, it says some of the outlets that were helping you, long drives and playing with the band, and are there any other outlets that work for you? So that's kind of going on.
Yeah, I like that on the train. I take a New York. Going on the train on Amtrak, I can get the quiet car and just get in my own world. I like being away from like spaces where people really don't like recognize me, where I could just like go and get a peace of mind, like sit somewhere and just be like zoned out, where I can really concentrate on what I have to get in my daily, you know, my routine. Like, cause I had to read a lot for as far as my casting, so I had to study my lines, and I like to be in a quiet place. So the train is another outlet. The train is a really relaxing. You could, and it's moving, you know what I mean? That the scenery, you can watch the scenery, and just I get in another world.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another one from Facebook for you too, G. It says, and this is from big up to Anthony Caldwell Amos. He says, can we talk about messaging in music and shows and entertainment?
Okay.
So that's kind of broad, but I guess we're kind of shaping it around mental health and
yeah, definitely. I always since young, I always have a message in my music where I tell, you know what I mean, like no violence and just love one another. You know what I mean? Please leave safely. You know what I mean? I always say messages, and they always used to call me a preacher because I stop in the middle of the show and just talk. You know what I mean? So it's always good to spend a message. Yeah, and then I always stop it and I tell everybody in different neighborhoods, just hug the youngest, man. Give them a hug because a lot of them don't get hugs at home. And a lot of them just don't know how to be loved. And they lash out a lot with violence because they're not getting love, the proper love. And then sometimes it just takes somebody from your neighborhood to say, man, how you doing today, shorty? What's up, man? Have a good day. That might take that young guy or that young sister on a positive note. They might be feeling down. Just had a whole bad time, no food in the household, just went through some domestic violence. And a lot of times through this COVID time, a lot of females went through a lot of domestic violence with being home, not working, and kids being abused and everything, not being able to get hot meals from school. We went through a lot.
Yeah.
And if I can
Go
jump
ahead.
in real quick, I think that is incredible in terms of what you take in. What you take in matters. Always joke and trying to tell, well, I say it's the joke, but it's the truth, that I had just gone through a breakup. And way back in the day, used to have something called the Quiet Storm. Melvin Lindsay and the Quiet Storm.
I love the Quiet Storm, the best ever. Best.
Oh, okay. All right. And so the thing is this, I had just gone through a breakup and they played the Phyllis Hyman song, Living All Alone.
Oh,
now, I was like, oh, exactly.
That was my mother's song. That was my mother's song too.
Oh, wow.
So just that, even me just saying that title, it brought about something out of each of us based upon our own experiences. And so the thing is this, is that you at least have to watch what it is that you're taking in and realize what it does to you. And so there's some show. So if you're dealing with relationship issues, you don't need to watch Love at First Sight. You don't necessarily need to watch. No, I'm serious, because then you start asking those questions yourself. You start projecting, well, wait a minute, I want that. And I'll have persons out like, well, where do you think you got that? Well, I was watching this show. And so, well, it wasn't just watching this show. You were actually ingesting this show. You were taking it in, and then it changed what came out. So I do think that you have to be aware of where you are, and then also be aware of what it's doing to you. So with certain music I can listen to before I go into a church board meeting. It's certain music I can't, because I might be too amped up listening to the wrong thing.
Hey, man, depending on the church board meeting, you might have to throw some Wu-Tang on or something, man.
I would probably put on my Kendrick Lamar first, because that
you gonna be all right.
Mindset. But if I go Wu-Tang, I'm gonna put everybody in the gravel pit and we just done. So my thing is, you got to know what the impact is. And I will tell you this, is some shows I just can't watch. Because they paint us in such a bad light. I'm glad to see us there, but it's not like The Wire where you actually are thinking and it shows you a different side of stuff. I'm talking about that shallow stuff that makes you think less of you. And you have to know what that is for yourself. Now, for some people, they can watch it all the way through and not feel nothing about it. And that's fine. But if it's impacting you, that's what you got to go with. Please jump in. Yep.
No. All right. So I got two more questions from Facebook, because I know, thank you guys for posting these questions. You can continue to post them in the chat to see if we will be able to answer them. But they're asking questions, y'all. They want to know. They're talking to y'all. So since we have two, let's make this one kind of quick so we can get to the rest of the things we had. But
okay,
we talked about respect earlier, and so someone on Facebook asked, "What is your definition of respect?"
Yeah, I'm definitely letting him start.
My definition of respect is I always say, just like to my elders, just coming in any establishment, any space, just always have your manners, your manner hat on, just respecting the person beside you. Like, you wouldn't just sneeze without covering your mouth. You know what I mean? Just like wetting everybody up. You respect that space, and you be like, "Oh, excuse me, my bad." You know what I mean? Or you coming in, like, say, like you in line, and you are already standing in line that whole time to get your food. I wouldn't walk right up and get in the tray and get in front of you when you stood there all that time. That's another form of respect. You got respect in different volumes. So I always was taught respect and manners. So that's my definition.
I agree.
And I'm glad you said.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, and so the one thing, and so since he went that way, let me go to the other side. Let me deal with respect and relationships, because I get a lot of that with couples about respect and everything else like that. And I think the key to it was what was in that question when they said, "What is your definition of respect?" One of the challenges is that we believe that our definition of respect is the other person's definition of respect. And because we haven't talked about it, then the issue is when they do something that in some cases they don't even think is disrespectful, but because we think that, then we don't have conversation about it. We just respond right to that disrespect. And a lot of times I'll see it in couples where one person may say something that really cuts deep to the other person, but because the other person doesn't feel that it was that way, they don't look at it, and then they'll say, "Oh, that wasn't disrespectful." No, I didn't mean it to be disrespectful, but I can't tell you how to take it. Right. You took it. And so therefore, if I respect you, then I do have to respect the fact that you felt what you felt. And then now we can go forward with it. But I literally have sometimes persons arguing back and forth. Well, that wasn't disrespectful. Well, yes, it was. No. Well, if the person felt it was disrespectful, how you gonna tell them that it wasn't? So I think when it comes to respect, it is acknowledging the value of the other person and really being able to, for lack of a better word, treat them in a way that shows that value. When people feel disrespected, they feel devalued in some way, shape, or form. And then really the shadow side of that is they also don't feel safe. Because if you don't respect me, then as Big G said earlier, you liable to do anything. So that's why I'm not going to eat the fish sandwich with you. I ain't going to get the ribs with you. I'm going to let you be on your side. Because if you don't respect me, then you might betray me. You might talk behind my back. You might do anything. So that's why respect is such a huge thing.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will add too that respect needs to be earned for me. And we talking about personal, we need to earn it. And I think we need to, in order to give it, it needs to be earned as well. I think it's a two-way street. Like if there's a level of the respect that you give yourself, I think it illuminates to others as well. So I think it's kind of a two-way street for me. All right. So we have one more question from YouTube. From James Stringfield. Thank you, James, for putting this in the chat. He asked, I'll take this one. He says, is there any way this can be a conference? We need this. I appreciate you saying that, my brother. Yes, I think this should be a conference. The only reason we didn't do it this year is because we still had some pandemic issues, challenges, with getting together. People's comfort level is still, a little iffy. But yeah, follow us, check us out at Hip Hope Nation. Follow Community of Hope. We definitely want to turn this into an ongoing discussion. We don't want this just to be a one-time thing. We want to continue this conversation because we know we get clarity through continuous discussion. So absolutely, this should be a conference. All right, so we are ready for our second question.
Okay.
And y'all can't say nothing on the panel.
Right.
Where don't say nothing. G don't say nothing. This is for the folks at home. But I do want you to comment afterwards when it's over with. So if you have that QR code already, hopefully you did. You already scanned that QR code and you can answer this question. Feel free to answer this question at home. And let's hear your comments. All right. So here is the question. The physical and mental problems from depression can seep into which of the following? Is it A, home and work? Is it B, relationships with friends and family? Is it C, community? Or is it D, all the above? I see people are tuning in right now. Oh, I think home and work is kind of winning. Got about 15 more seconds. This could be a tough one. This is like one of them test questions back in the day, where it could be one single. It could be that's a tough one. All right, we got 5 seconds left. It looks like it's pretty even. All right, so the answer is D, all of the above. Depression, anxiety, all of that can affect all areas of your life. Does any one of you want to address that?
I hit him with the hard one last time, so I'll jump in first on this one. And I think it's two things. So I think people a lot of times when they say this look at being depressed, and they look at that as a state like like being broke. And sometimes it is like being broke, like you broke on Thursday, but on Friday you good, because that direct deposit done hit or you got your money right, those sorts of things. And so therefore, a lot of times person can be dealing with depression and they just keep coming out of it. But the thing is that it's kind of like sometimes being on the water, and so you kind of just tread in water, but it's hard to get going. So I would say during the pandemic, I struggled with depression because I had so much on me. And then this was the thing, nobody could tell it because I was still performing at a high level. I was still knocking stuff out the box and I was helping other people. But for myself, I was like, man, like this is a lot. This is a lot. And then I realized like, oh, wait, I know what this is. I should know what this is. And so that was what I had to work about with my own therapist, because it was a case where nobody else could know. So you have a lot of highly functioning people that are doing everything they normally would do that are still fighting depression. And when I say that is that it's easier for persons to hear fighting with depression rather than struggling with depression. But the thing is this, you fighting it, but get some help. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I never grew up with like, fighting fair, that sort of thing. Nah, we can jump you. We gonna jump you. Like at the end of the day, we can tell whatever. I'm sorry, let me just
Exactly.
we can tell whatever story we want to tell afterward. All we know is you got stomped, and then we can tell whatever story we want to say. It was just 1-on-1, and there's 5 right. There's 5 of us. But the thing is this: so why would you fight? Depression doesn't fight fair. It hits you at the worst parts of your life. So why would you then try to fight it fair? Don't do that. Get all of the help you can get. And one of the best things that it was tough for me to do, but was to learn to tell people no to what they needed and yes to myself.
That's
to
big.
Be able to say, yeah, I can't agree to this, or I can't do this. I got to take time to just sit tonight. Like, I know I could do this or this, but I got to take some time for me. And I would say that a lot of times we look at depression as just people who don't get out of bed and stuff like that. And that is that too. But I think for our community, it's tons of people who are fighting depression that's still going to work, still going to church, still cooking dinner, still doing all of those things, but they struggling. And then that's why you'll see. I saw a dude, and I saw a dude at the other day at the gym. I mean, getting it. I mean, was really getting it in. And first I thought he was like sweating. And I'm like, that joker crying.
Wow.
Lifting crazy weight. So I waited and everything else like that. And I just went up to him and was like, hey man, I just want to let you know this is what I do for a living. I'm a therapist. Said maybe I just noticed it. And we ended up talking for 15 minutes right then. And he was like, yeah, man, it just hit me. I was lifting and it just hit me. But he had been dealing with so much stuff. And so what I'm saying is that it's so many times where persons are fighting depression, but he was fighting it by himself.
Yeah.
But just our 15-minute conversation allowed him to now double team up on it and to be able to get some steps to be able to move forward. So we all deal with it in some way, shape, or form. So don't feel like that's a bad thing. It just is life. And then don't just let it sit. I'm done. Yeah.
So that's what kind of, and I've shared this with you before, and I shared this with brothers with me, and I knew that I needed to start seeing someone. I was doing something for my job, and it was a routine thing. I was like sharing a presentation. I had like 30 people and it's a normal thing. I had to present to about 30 folks, and that night before, I was just so overwhelmed, and it wasn't something new that I was presenting. I had presented it before, and I had so much anxiety, man. And I woke up that morning crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is, she's like, my wife was like, something happened? I'm like, no. I'm crying to her. I don't even know why I'm crying. She's asking me why I'm crying. And come to find out that, that was a part of all that anxiety, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I wasn't able to do my outlets like I normally do. I ride bikes, G. I do bikes through, the trail. Yeah, you need to come on out here, man.
I got a bike. I don't know if I got one like you though.
And yeah, so it just kind of helped me, know that other people are going through the same things that I'm going through. And so, and if I wouldn't have had that breakdown moment, I don't know if I would have, been inclined to go see somebody,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're doing here, is like we're helping folks identify what that is, and what steps that you may have to do to deal with it. So we're gonna end in a second, but I really want you guys to give us some final thoughts about mental health, just whatever's in your mind that you want to leave with the folks, and let them know how important this is. So either one of you can give your final thoughts now.
Well, yeah, my final thoughts is always just try to talk to somebody. Everybody throughout your whole day, throughout your whole life, everybody's gonna have a problem. I don't care if you this person with all this money or whatever, you're gonna have problems. Everybody have problems. And dealing with depression, I think we deal with depression all the time. Like I said, during the COVID time, I used to talk to a few of my buddies, and they was like, man, with this COVID, man, I ain't paying no mortgage. I ain't paying nothing. I say, listen, I'm gonna go on my little savings. I'm gonna pay mine. And when y'all gonna come right back to me talking about now y'all pulling y'all hair out, your shape up falling off, y'all can't get that bill together. I'm gonna keep this train moving as best as I can now. And I get brothers that's super depressed over there, still trying to catch back up because they wouldn't pay their bills. If you had it, pay it. You know what I mean? You go through stuff with your friend, depression, talk to somebody. We all go through stuff, man. It's a hard struggle and a hard journey. You just need some help, man. And I had to learn that. Being this guy, this statue person, thinking I don't need no help and thinking I don't need to talk to nobody, it don't do nothing but get worse. And family, sometimes you can't talk to family. Sometimes you have to talk to somebody that don't know nothing about you. They can put you in your mind in a good space. I just say, hey, just try to stay focused. If you're thinking about bad thoughts, talk to somebody. If you're sad all the time, that's depression. Get some help, man. Get some help. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. It'll help you.
Appreciate it.
I think he said it perfectly. The one thing I definitely want to say is that you're human. And I just
Number
want to give
one.
you, I want to give you just big ups for still being here. You
Yeah,
know, a lot of persons for multiple reasons, either they were checked out or they checked out. So the
yeah,
fact that you're here, the fact that you took time on a Saturday morning to take this step for your mental health is great. So my thing is this is that if you've already taken this step, keep stepping, like keep going. You obviously realize that it's important. And I think a lot of times this is when you can know that maybe something isn't exactly what it should be, is when you have reactions that don't match the situation. So if
right.
you have a reaction that doesn't match the situation, like I'll be honest, myself, I got cut off one time during the pandemic, and normally I'd just be upset, this, that, and the other. I think for the first time ever in my life, I followed the dude. Like I was like, no, I did. Oh, Big G, like, oh man, I ain't definitely coming to him now. But I'm just
Hey,
being real.
nah,
Like,
nah,
I
but
did.
that's real, man.
Like,
I caught myself like that too one time. I
exactly.
think I was in Virginia, and the guy cut me, and then I waited. I got back in. Then he cut me. The second time he cut me, almost
Oh,
hit me. And I was like, "Come on, man!" So I followed him just to like, "Come on, bro, come on, let's leave it alone." And he had a whole water bottle up like that. I said, "All right, man." And then I had to catch myself like it could have got bad because you see it on the news all the time. Road rage.
exactly.
Just that little small piece can turn into death, bad accident, cut somebody else off, another person crash over. I done seen it happen. So I just learned to say, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna chill.
And let me tell you, I would, and that, but I realized, like, okay, that was a result of everything else. And so, one of the things that I think is great when people you feel and you see that difference is get help. But person say, well, what do I do in the moment? In the moment, real quick, you acknowledge whatever the feeling is, and then
Right.
you express it. So even if you gotta say some words that you couldn't ever say in church, well, I would prefer you to say those words, get them out of you, because whenever you do that, it lowers the intensity of the emotion. So it would be much better for me to have said them words than to follow behind that dude. Because if had he stopped or we got the right red light, I wouldn't be here probably. Not because I'd have got taken out. I'd been in jail, but I would took him out. But the thing is this: is the fact that I ain't gonna lose. So my thing is the fact that you acknowledge the emotion, you express it in some way, and then you act in a way that's beneficial for you. And I think that that's a lot of times what we don't do. We just feel it, and then we immediately go from feeling the emotion to acting on it. But if you can just slow it down, just a couple of steps, then it gets you to a space where you can get through. But a lot of times persons are asking, well, what can I do for help? Or I'm not ready to go for therapy yet. I will say this, not everybody is great, but you can find a ton of stuff on YouTube. You can find a ton of stuff on the internet to at least help you start getting more comfortable with it. And last but not least, and all big ups to all my life coaches out there and everything else like that. Life coaching, in many cases, will help you really get to a different level of success and may help you deal with some problems, but it's not the same as mental health therapy, which is actually dealing just with you. So at the end of the day, I don't care if you make $1 million or not. I just want you healthy. So healthy may mean turning down $1 million, Dave Chappelle. And so that may be healthy for you. So I do say when sometimes persons say, well, I'm seeing a life coach, but I really don't feel like they're helping me deal with my anger. I'm like, that's not their job. Their job is to help you to really be successful. So don't confuse the two things. Like I said, so big ups. I'm thankful for all life coaches out there. And I know it's a lot of them out there, but a life coach is not a mental health therapist. Not throwing shade, but just make sure we each stay in our lanes. That's all.
Yeah, that's good.
Now I
That's
feel
good.
like I'm getting a whole bunch of hate mail.
On that note, well, I want to thank y'all, man. I really do appreciate both of y'all so much. I hold both of y'all in such high regard.
Thank
G,
you.
you know how I feel about you, my
Appreciate
brother.
it.
And
It was good meeting you, Big G, man. You don't,
man.
hey, man, we're gonna have to get it up.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
told, hey G, I told him where I was like, you gonna make a friend on
Yeah,
Saturday.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody need to talk to you though, Red, because
Yeah.
like it'd be
No,
hard.
we gonna do it over a fish sandwich. We're gonna make it
Yeah,
happen.
that'd be good. Good old white and fish sandwich, man. That's
There
when we
you
can
go.
do that. We
I'm
can definitely
seriously
do
gonna
that.
have a fish sandwich today. Y'all done brought up fish
Hey,
sandwich
me too. I'm definitely gonna have me one. I gotta have me one.
too many times right
I
there.
gotta have me a fish sandwich.
I can't even put the hot sauce on it because that's gonna lead to some anxiety or some high blood pressure.
Well, I'm gonna put the hot sauce on it for you.
There you go.
Hey man, I love y'all, brothers. Thank
Man,
y'all
love you,
for
my
being
brother.
with us.
All right,
man.
y'all.
I'll talk
Stay
to
up,
y'all
everybody.
soon.
Okay, cool.
All right, man.
Peace and
All
love.
right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So to connect with any county resources, if you need to take another step, you can go to telehealth by calling 211 or text MD to 741-741 online or 22md.org if you need additional support. I just want to thank everybody for spending time with us this morning. We really appreciate you being here. I hope this conversation does not end right here. Brothers, if we can't open up and be honest about what we're going through, then we can't get the support that we need. We can't get the healing that we need. I believe God is ready to move us to another level, but we have to take care of the things that are holding us back. And of course, as a reverend, I'm going to say praying and having a strong connection with God is the key. But I also hope we did enough to take the stigma out of seeking help from the mental health professional. There's no shame in that. This is Reverend Aaron. I'm about to sign off. And if you're looking for a church home, you can always join us at Community of Hope at hiphopenation.com and all our major streaming platforms. Big up to Reverend Pastor Tony Lee, Reverend Bill Lee, Reverend Dr. Nancy Lee. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of this, and just get the help that you need, get the healing that you need, get the love that you need. It's Reverend Aaron. I'm signing off. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Yeah, I've been knowing the pain. I've been knowing the pain. I've been knowing the pain. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So even when the lights go down, I see the sun. And when the hurt made me run, what he has done is brought new life. Lord, he gave me new life. So even when the time goes by, still it will be you and I have new life. He gave me new life. So pain, this is your eulogy.
When I call you guys brothers, I understand that word is about we have accepted Christ Jesus as our Lord and Savior. So his blood make us brothers.
Your testimony blesses us too. And that's how we sharpen each other's iron, strengthen our faith through just the word and just through our discussions. That's why I love Tuesday night.